First episode of Moon Knight is up on Disney Plus from Marvel TV, starring Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, and I'm excited to be talking about episode 1 in a non-spoiler review coming up next. Hey everyone, it's the Outlaw John Rocha here with my non-spoiler review of episode 1 of Moon Knight. This one dropped last night or yesterday for people who are subscribers to Disney Plus and enjoying the Marvel television series. This is the 6th one. Yes, we're already up to the 6th television series here in the MCU, and I'm excited to talk about it. Before I do, I just want to remind you all to please subscribe to the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we do on here in the Outlaw Nation. Also, head on over to Twitch. Follow me there, the Outlaw Nation, all one word. I'll be doing a WrestleMania watch along this weekend for both nights. Thanks to everybody who joined me for the Oscars watch along. That was a hell of a thing on Twitch last week. I appreciate it madly. But let's get into this thing. Episode 1 of Moon Knight. I want to tell you right off the bat, I really enjoyed it. I'm a massive Moon Knight fan. I've collected numerous runs and graphic novels and what have you about Moon Knight. And it's one of those pocket characters that, you know, those of us who are fans of Moon Knight, we kind of keep in a safe place, kind of like that indie group that you have or that indie film that not everyone has seen, but is like a special jewel for you. Moon Knight has always been that for me. I've always enjoyed the design and the look of Moon Knight, the story here. You know, there's a lot of blood and gore and violence in Moon Knight, but there's also weird, outlandish humor, crazy things he gets involved in. I had a great time with this first episode. It absolutely captured the vibe and the atmosphere of what I enjoyed about the comics in Moon Knight, and I think Oscar Isaac does a fantastic job as Stephen Grant, as Marc Spector here. You are immediately in with him as Stephen Grant, you know, the unusual guy here who's like got the British accent, who's working like he's kind of a subservient guy working in a gift shop in a museum with some fellow employees and management who don't treat him well, don't remember his name, kind of push him around a little bit, and he's like kind of afraid of his own shadow, which is of course a complete and utter 180 from the Marc Spector character who we get to see by the end of this first episode, and Moon Knight, who we get to see as well by the end of the first episode as well. We totally see his world through Stephen Grant's eyes and what he's experiencing and dealing with. He doesn't have many friends. As I said, people kind of treat him badly there at the job. His mom never picks up when he calls. And his only real friend is, if you can call him that, is this street performer who is dressed in gold and just sits still the whole time for tourists to take pictures with him. And Stephen goes and talks with him multiple times about his life and about what's going on in his world. But we are introduced to the fact that Stephen is dealing with dissociative identity disorder and he becomes someone else, goes on these experiences, goes on these adventures, and he's not sure if they're real or they're not real, but he does everything he can to try to stay awake and not get involved in it, from like, tying himself to his bed with straps, to listening to podcasts, to playing with a Rubik's Cube, to pouring sand. He does all these things to try to keep himself from falling into the trap of becoming this other personality. But that does no good, and he does become the other personality. That's Marc Spector, and we see what Marc Spector is dealing with. And I think he does a great job, Oscar Isaac does, of like delineating between the two characters, between the two personalities, and letting you see what each one is all about. Uniquely different characters he is creating here with different power spectrums. And by that, I mean Marc Spector very much in command of his world, except for one person who has a little bit of a hold on him. We'll get to that person in just a second. And then Stephen Grant, who's, of course, everybody has a control of his world. So all this stuff is affecting his life, and it's coming to a head here in this first episode. And usually when we see series like this, we're catching them as stuff is starting to fall apart. So we're invested and involved in the journey of them trying to figure it out. It becomes a mystery. And I think that's something that the creators do really well. I want to give a shout out to Jeremy Slater and the directing team here, led by Mohammed Diab and Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, who directed all 6 episodes. I think Diab did 4 of them, and Benson and Moorhead did the other 2. It's great to see the directing here. It's great to see what they're doing to bring this world to life. The set design, the production design, all of it looks really, really well. And you're dialed into it and you buy it. And speaking of the design, Khonshu, who appears in the show, voiced by the great Oscar-winning F. Murray Abraham, is fantastic. I really enjoy how they do his voice. I've never pictured F. Murray Abraham's voice in my head when I've read the Moon Knight comic books, but damn if it doesn't work, and damn if he doesn't do a good job. And Ethan Hawke here, who of course is playing the villain of the piece, is Arthur Harrow. Really interesting. Arthur Harrow in the comics is a really minor villain in the Moon Knight legacy, but they've taken some pieces and elements of real world cult leaders. Everyone's into cults, religious, political, or otherwise. And it's really interesting to see Arthur Harrow in this kind of a show really assume the mantle of being this antagonist who is devoted to a god, an Egyptian god himself, and wants that Egyptian god to come forward. That's what we find out. So we're getting the battle between Marc Spector / Stephen Grant and Arthur Harrow, both kind of tied to gods. And the way Arthur Harrow's introduced has a lot of vibes there from the Da Vinci Code, what Paul Bettany's character does in the Da Vinci Code. And certainly those of us who know religion or have studied religion or, are religious ourselves, we know those zealots who believe they must punish themselves physically in order to feel God's love, in order to feel closer to God or connected to Jesus Christ, who died for our sins in their minds and was beaten mercilessly on his way to being hung on the cross. So we see that coming through, and that's a very strong motivator here when confronted. And the back and forth, the couple of scenes that we get between Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac are fun to see. Interesting exploration, some references to blue people from James Cameron and to an anime is thrown in here. That's a really fun moment as well. Mia Calamawy does a fantastic job here as Layla. Layla playing a character that is reminiscent of another character in Moon Knight comics, and I will get into that when we do the spoiler review with the Geek Buddy, some of the Easter eggs and the references and all of that. But I think she does great. I mean, she's not that experienced of an actress in terms of her resume, but there is a presence and a command to the that she has with herself on screen that is fun to see. And she's going toe to toe with some heavyweights here with Ethan Hawke, with Oscar Isaac. She brings her game and a game, and it's a good thing to see. And I like her energy. I like that she's in real life half Egyptian, so that makes that all work really well in an authentic way. Overall, you get that you get the feeling that you're in the right hands. You're in good hands. You've got people who understand the Moon Knight mythology and the canon and understand what makes the Moon Knight so appealing to people who enjoy the Moon Knight in comic book form. And I think they did an excellent job of getting that down. And I think that's the foundational thing you got to get right in order to jump from here. And you guys are in for a treat over the next 3 episodes for sure. I've enjoyed all 4 of them in diminishing, I could rank them if I wanted to, but like they're all good to great is what I would say. And I'm excited to see the last 2 episodes to fully enjoy and assess this season. All right, well, let me know what you thought of episode 1. Did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time with it? Did you like what they're doing here with this character? Did you like having Moon Knight be a part of the MCU now? Are you okay with how they're presenting his dissociative identity disorder? Are you down with that? Do you like the acting? Do you enjoy the performances? Is there anyone else that stood out for you that you really enjoyed from the show that I didn't bring up? Do you like the way they've set the premise here after this first episode of what we're going to be dealing with and the way he is zapping in and out of both of those personalities and losing time and days and whatever? Do you like the way they're handling all of that and his interactions with all the actors? Are you enjoying that as well? So, and the mythology and the mystery of it all and the references to Egyptian history, are you enjoying all of that as well? Well, let me know in the comments section below. Let me know what you thought of this review in the comment section below as well. Give this video a like and share it on your social media. When you share it on your social media, you're telling your friends and family, hey, the Outlaw Nation is a cool place to come and enjoy some content. Maybe they'll come aboard, hang out with me, and subscribe to the channel. And speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping all the content we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. And then head on over to Twitch. Follow me there, the Outlaw Nation, all one word on Twitch. And at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And my other podcast, The Top 10, The Cinephiles, and The Geek Buddies. And speaking of The Geek Buddies, we will be having a spoiler review coming for Moon Knight. And our special guest will be Mike Kalinowski, who is also a massive Moon Knight fan like me. And we're going to have some fun talking about the first episode here, spoiler-wise, and talking all the Easter eggs as well. Probably sometime later tonight or tomorrow morning, you'll get that video. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. Embrace the chaos. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new review episode here on the Outlaw Nation channel.